Hello everybody, welcome to today's Spanish video. In this video, we're going to be learning how to describe yourself and to describe other people by using describing words. So this is a very important basic lesson and we're going to be covering a lot of vocab. So if you want to see videos similar to this one, then you should go ahead and subscribe to our channel so you can get more content. Alright, so let's get started. So when we describe ourselves or when we describe other people, we have to use describing words. And we can kind of categorize how we want to describe people. We can describe people based on their personality, or we can describe people based on how they look, their appearance. So here let's go over the vocab words that we can learn for personality. The first one is artístico, and this means artistic. I have it a parenthesis A at the end. That means that you can say artístico if it's in a masculine context or artística if it's in a feminine context. And if you want to see when to use O, when to use A, I'll have a video posted about that and you can go ahead and check that out. Next one is atlético, and that means athletic. Then we have bueno, and bueno means good. You can use this bueno word in many contexts, but if you want to describe somebody as a good person, you can say, use bueno. Next we have cómico, and cómico means funny, kind of comical. A lot of these Spanish words, you can kind of get an understanding of what the word is just by taking a look because it's matching some of our words. For example, desorganizado. That means disorganized, and it's kind of, you can see it within the Spanish word itself. Next, we have estudioso, or we can say estudiosa, and that means somebody who is studious, right? Somebody who studies a lot. Next, we have inteligente, and this one doesn't have, it's only used in both masculine and feminine, so there's no such thing as inteligenta, like that's not a thing. It'll always end in E, and that means intelligent. Next we have malo, which means bad, and that's the opposite of bueno, so you can say bueno, malo, so those are opposites. Then we have organizado, which means organized, which is the opposite of desorganizado. At the end of this video, we're going to go through many practice, so we really memorize these words. Next, we have perezoso. This is my favorite. It means lazy. It's the most fun to spell, say, and I like the meaning. Next, we have serio, which means serious. And I'm going to go ahead and grab another paper for this one because we got a lot of words to cover based on personality. So it's very important that we look at what context we're using these words because sometimes we need to make sure that it's masculine, feminine, and we have to use that because that's a grammar rule. Next, we have simpático. And that means nice. So a good way to memorize it is simpático is kind of like sympathy in a sense, and sympathetic people are nice. So that's kind of like how my mnemonic devices I'm using to learn these words. Then we have trabajador, which means hardworking. So these are all the words that you can use to describe yourself or to describe other people regarding their personality. So this is a very good thing to learn and understand, and you can use it in your daily life so that you can practice your Spanish. All right. So there's categories, right? Like how we can describe people. First, we did personality. Now let's describe people based on how they look like, based on their appearance. So that's what we're going to go ahead and jump into next. We're going to describe people based on how they look. Are they tall? Are they short? So kind of like that. So again, it also has alto or alta, right? You can use based on masculine or feminine. And alto means tall. Then we have bajo, which means short. So alto and bajo are both referring to somebody's height. Then we have bonito or bonita, and that means pretty, right? Pretty. So we can use that in that context. Then we have grande, grande, And what does grande mean? It means big, it means large, it means great. What this means is that I have given multiple definitions because it doesn't just have to be used for your appearance, it can be used for other things, right? Next we have guapo, which means good looking, handsome, like that's what guapo means. And you can say guapo or guapa. Last we have, oh not last, but next we have joven. And joven means young. It means you describe somebody who's a young person as joven. Then we have pelirrojo. And pelirrojo, if that means we can say pelirrojo or pelirroja, and that means a red-haired person, regular person with red hair, and that's how you would describe their hair color, the appearance of their hair color. Then we have pecunio, pecunio. And we have to make sure that we see that there is a tilde on top of the N, so you have to kind of emphasize it. So pecunio, and that means small. Next we have viejo, and viejo means old. So again, we see kind of like opposites going on here. Joven means young, viejo means old. So we can always make sure that we know these. So we're almost done with appearances. There's just a couple of more that we have to go through. And then I think we'll be pretty solid. And what I recommend is that after you see all the words, you take time and you kind of create mnemonic devices so you kind of understand them more and also start using them in your daily life. So, you know, just around the house, just using these words, and it'll help you memorize it. Then we have pelo rubio and pelo castaño. And this means blonde hair or brown hair, right? And usually we use it with tener, which means to have. And that's how we would describe somebody has the blonde hair and has brown hair. I'll have a video related to tener soon, so make sure you subscribe and stay updated for that video. So let's go over some practice. So practicing your vocabulary is very important. I suggest you don't look at the words. Don't look at the words in the definitions. Try to memorize as much as you can and then do the vocab practice. And that's really going to make sure you know how much you know. All right, so in this practice, what exactly are we going to be doing? So what I want you guys to do is I want you guys to translate the following sentences that I'm going to write. And this is a very good activity. The sentences are going to be written in Spanish. So again, you can use like mnemonic devices in order to understand or write down what the definition of these sentences are. How would you translate these? So the first sentence in Spanish that I want you to translate into English is Marco es pequeño. Marco es pequeño. So this, as you can see, we're going to be using es a lot. Like this es means is. So es is a ser form. It's in the ser form. If you don't know about ser, you can go ahead and watch my previous video that I've released on how to use ser, which means to be. And when you're describing people, you want to make sure that you're using the verb ser. And in this form, it's going to be es because we're talking about a person. A he, specifically an él or ella. So here we have Marco es pequeño, Luisa es trabajadora, Pablo es organizado, and Joaquín es malo. Right? Now we have two more that I want to do. Let's do Anabel es joven. I think what a fun exercise also would be, would you take these sentences and you make your own Spanish sentence where you're using the opposite vocab word. So that would be a really fun challenge if you want to do that. Next, we have Francisco es cómico. So take a look at all these sentences, pause the video, and translate these sentences into English. And it's really going to help with that vocab that we just learned. Right? The key here is to translate. That's what this activity is going to help you do. All right. So let's go ahead and get back and let's translate these sentences. So we have Marco es pequeño. And what does that exactly mean? That means that Marco is, and we have to understand what pequeño means. Pequeño means small, right? So Marco is small. So I'm describing his appearance. Next we have Luisa es trabajador, and that means Luisa is hardworking, right? So that's describing more of her personality characteristic, right? So Luisa is hardworking. Next we have Pablo es organizado, which means Pablo is organized. We kind of see that from the Spanish word itself. The fourth one is Joaquín es malo, which means Joaquin is bad. I kind of think that's one of the most basic words that you should learn. So Joaquin is bad. Next we have Anabel is joven, and that means Anabel is young. Joven is young. Next we have Francisco es cómico. Cómico sounds like comical, so Francisco is funny, right? Or Francisco is comical, right? So if you did good on this, that's great, because I have another activity that's a little bit more challenging. So if you can do this, then you've pretty much gotten a great idea of how to describe people's appearance, how to describe people's personality, how to describe other people in general. So what we're going to do is we're going to match the opposites, and I love matching exercises. They're so much fun. So let's go ahead and do it. Before we were translating, here the key is we're matching. All right, so here's a list of words. So on the left side, I'm going to write the words, and you kind of have to match. They're all going to be written in Spanish, and you have to match their opposites, right? So this is a little bit more challenging because you have to translate the word from Spanish to English and then also choose opposites. So here are our words. We have pequeño, that was used in the last exercise, trabajadora, organizado, malo, and joven. That's on the left side. Oh, and also cómico. So that's on the left side. And on the right side, what are we going to use? We're going to say bueno, grande, desorganizado. I feel like this exercise maybe you've caught on. You can see that a lot of the words are very familiar to us just based on the way that they look and how they're spelled. So we have bueno, grande, desorganizado, perezosa, serio, and vieja, right? Remember the J's sound like h, like the H sound? And when we have accents, we have to make sure we emphasize them and we're saying the word correctly, right? So let's go ahead and match them. So pequeño means grande, right? So what is pequeño? It doesn't mean grande. They're opposites. My bad. Pequeño is the opposite and grande. Then pequeño means small and grande means big. Then we have trabajadora and perezosa. Trabajadora means hardworking and perezosa means lazy. Then we have organizado and desorganizado, meaning organized and disorganized. Then we have malo and bueno. Malo is bad, bueno means good. Then we have joven and vieja, meaning young and old, and cómico and serio, which means funny and serious. Alright, so that wraps up today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and go ahead and reference the beginning vocab words.